Stock is back in the $5 range. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hitting a new multi-year low today. What's happening? Well, we have some breaking news that you need to know. It's not exactly the greatest news. AMC stock's now almost down 4%. So we're going to get into that here in this video. We're going to look at what's happening in the marketplace today, as well as the data with AMC. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. It costs you absolutely nothing to do so. It is free 99. So first things first, guys. Another rough day for AMC. Why it's so rough in particular is just because the markets are doing pretty well today. The Russell 2000 is up 1%. The Nasdaq's up 0.6%. The S&P's up almost 0.5%. The Dow's up about 0.25%. So it's, it's a really rough day if AMC's down 4% and the Russell's up 1%. Now, what I'll tell you off the bat is the VIX is also up 4% today, which, as you know, when the VIX goes higher, that means there's more puts being bought on the S&P than calls. So there is some, protection that is being bought today, even though stocks are moving higher. What you're seeing with the VIX definitely is interesting. And if we pull this up to the one-day chart, you're kind of seeing an increase to the VIX throughout the day today. So definitely makes you wonder if some of what we seen yesterday, that aggressive kind of flash crash sell-off event, might not be over, and maybe we do get more weakness to come. Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about the data coming out tomorrow and how impactful that will be, because that'll definitely be big. Tomorrow's going to be a huge day, but that's not certain. What is certain is this breaking news with AMC. AMC plans to issue 3.3 million more shares of AMC stock. AMC Entertainment has announced an equity for debt exchange that will result in the issuance of 3.34 million shares. The company also announced that it would begin selling its own branded line of chocolates at its theaters. That was a little bit older news. It says AMC Entertainment stock is in the red after the company announced a privately negotiated exchange agreement concerning the issuance of shares in exchange for debt. AMC will provide an undisclosed party with 3.34 million newly issued shares of AMC stock in exchange for $25 million in principal amount of its 2026 10% and 12% cash payment in kind Tugel second lien sub-oriented notes. Quote, based on aggregate principal amount exchange plus 27,777 aggregate accrued interest thereon through the relevant date of exchange, the common stock issued had an implied value of $7.47 per share, said AMC in a Form 8K filing. AMC also hinted that it may enter into additional equity for debt exchanges in the future, but is not obligated to do so. So this news follows AMC's closing of its $350 million at-the-market offering earlier this month. AMC raised the capital through the sale of approximately 48 million shares. The company has used the proceeds to repurchase debt or exchange debt for equity, resulting in a liabilities reduction of $62.28 million. Thus far in 2023, in quotes, AMC has raised $865 million of gross equity capital and lowered liabilities by approximately $440 million by reducing our corporate borrowings by approximately $350 million and repaying more than $90 million of COVID-19 related deferred rent liabilities, said CEO Adam Aron. Meanwhile, AMC stock has declined by more than 8% during the past month. This is likely the result of the dilutive effects of issuing new shares. With more cuts in the pie, each shareholder's stake or piece of the pie gets smaller. Yeah, kind of rough. On a brighter note, AMC announced this morning that it would expand its presence in the premium gourmet candies sector by offering its own line of branded chocolate candies. These include chocolate-covered pretzels, almonds, raisins, and peanuts. The company's new sweets will be available in AMC theaters starting this week. AMC had previously collaborated with top confectioners for over a year in order to create its chocolates. Next year, the company has planned to expand its selection of sweets. Still, shareholders shouldn't get too excited as food and beverage companies have historically carried low profit margins. AMC's branded popcorn hasn't exactly had a significant effect on AMC stock either. Yikes. So just dilution. That's what is affecting AMC the most for, I mean, the last multiple months now. It's been a while. And this is what continues to affect AMC stock very negatively. Even again today, stock's down 4%, Russell's up 1%. I think AMC's management is totally to blame here. What AMC's management is doing is irresponsible on, multiple different levels, right? To be this irresponsible is, I mean, maybe we should have expected it, but kind of surprising given everything. Now, check this out. Oh my gosh. So, StockTwits. You have the sentiment extremely bearish at 2 here on StockTwits. Check out the message volume. That's extremely high at 98. So there's a lot of people that are, talking about AMC, that are, conversating about the stock, but it's not on good terms, right? It's not for good reasons. So this is one of those things where I think the most important thing is message volume. I think we keep getting shown that there's a lot of people either in AMC that were previously in AMC, or just watching the stock to see if we are gonna rally at some point. There's a lot of people watching the stock. That's the point. So the message volume is pretty high during these kind of events. Now, the sentiment, that changes. Today's super bearish. If tomorrow was good, it would be super bullish. I just like to know that the message volume is there. The activity and the interest in AMC is there. If and when we start to get volatility, AMC stock does well or does poorly, and we are not seeing this kind of message volume, that's where I become a little bit more concerned. But right now, I mean, the irresponsible actions that, Adam Aron and AMC are doing, it's not looking so good. You're now in the $5 range, $5.99. From here, you're probably going to stay in this $5 range unless we, get some kind of good news. Now, maybe we pop back into the $6 range, but I don't see a rally from here for quite a while, especially considering now the markets are looking ahead to more dilution. So that's basically a green light for shorts to go out and short the stock, because they say, hey, even if the stock does rally, Adam Aron's just going to dilute shareholders. Like, why? Why would we cover on our short positions? Why would we go bullish on AMC if that's what we're set up for? So, yeah, not exactly the greatest thing that is happening today. Really, other than that, not too much else out there. Container prices hit 10,000 as ocean freight inflation soars in the Red Sea crisis. Definitely want to be watching this, because if this is something that turns into a feeder of inflation, that's obviously not going to be great. So that's definitely something that we want to be watching pretty closely. I think it's going to take a little while to actually let that feed into your inflation reports. So I'm not expecting that, this month, right? But next month, definitely something we want to be watching for. Now, what's actually interesting is hedge funds and institutions today have placed one order in AMC, totaling about $76,000 with a positive order value of 100%. So even though, what we're seeing is just very bearish, right? You did see a positive trade today. Actually, the only trade you've seen. And the trade was a January 16th, 2026 $7 call for $290, and they bought 261 of them. This was a block trade. So that's what kind of interesting, I would say. If you look at the volume today on the call side, 67.2% volume to the call side and 32.8% volume to the put side. So believe it or not, still, even after dilution, there is a decent amount of options trading that is still a majority bullish. If you take a look here at the Ortex data, I don't believe these numbers are accurate at all, but what's it matter if you continue to get dilution? You need to see something that causes shareholders to get excited, or maybe causes hedge funds and institutions to want to cover on some of their short positions. It doesn't matter if you're hundreds of % sold short, like I believe. If you continue to get dilution, you're not going to see a rally. Now, the legal numbers that we have to report: 9.22% short interest of free float, $140.74 million worth of short positions in AMC, days to cover 1.13, 22.81 million shares that are currently sold short, shares out on loan 16.03 million, cost to borrow 1.08%, utilization of 23.08%, and a short score of 51.34 out of 100. So again, not the craziest numbers here, but even the short interest, it's improved a little bit from where it was at about 8.5%. Now, the cost to borrow fees: cost to borrow average 2.39%, cost to borrow minimum 2.32%, cost to borrow max at about 9%. So cost to borrow numbers are definitely increasing on the cost to borrow max, but nothing very notable to actually speak of. Now, today we will have an earnings and after hours that will be important for our markets. That will be Nike. Nike will report earnings, and you're so far into Q4, Nike already knows what their holiday numbers are going to look like. So we're going to have some pretty reliable guidance to go off of. I think this might make the move a little bit larger. We'll have to wait and see. If you guys want to come trade with us, come join the trading community, check out the link down below in the description of this video. I just put out a tutorial on exactly how I do some of these trading strategies, whereas it's you can take $200 into $4,000, $5,000, high risk, high reward kind of trades, but put the odds of you winning more so in your favor. So if you guys want to check that out, link down below in the description of this video, guys. So there is that quick look at the Stonko tracker data, see what the option activity is looking like, and lots of calls that are out the money. Basically no calls that are in the money. You got about 500 calls in the money, 102,000 calls out the money. In the money puts at about 39,000, out the money puts at 6,800. So yeah, it's flip-flopped here, right? Especially under $6, you get a lot of those puts that win in the money here today, guys. So there is that. We did have one data print that did come out this morning. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. That was GDP. GDP came in at 4.9%. The estimate was 5.2%. Still a very strong number. This is around where I was expecting, the high fours, the low fives. This doesn't come across the markets as shocking in the slightest bit. So there is that. You did have Philly Fed CapEx negative 7.5, Philly Fed employment negative 1.7, Philly Fed new orders negative 25.6, Philly Fed prices paid at 25.1. Yikes, especially that new orders number absolutely getting wrecked on. So not exactly great. Kansas Fed Manufacturing Index -4. Kansas Fed Composite Index -1. Maybe this is what Fed Harker meant yesterday when he said inflation, the economy is slowing faster than the data actually shows. Maybe, some of this soft data is starting to show some weakness out there. Definitely something we want to be watching for. In the next video, we'll go over what markets are pricing in for rate policy, what I expect from here with AMC, with this great shift of capital. I still think the great shift of capital is, coming and happening, but I do think it is looking a little bit different at this moment in time. There's stages to this, and we are in the early stages. So that's going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.